Hey, what's up everybody? It's Fabio with Fresco Recording Services. Thanks for tuning in again. And if you watched the last video, we had Sean Peterson with Pensacola Audio Documentation give a rundown of what mastering is and what he expects from his clients. And we also explained a little bit about how to send a mix properly to a mastering engineer. And today's video was actually suggested by Wyatt Coleman with Blue Palms Entertainment. And he suggested I do a video about templates. So I'm going to be using Pro Tools, and this can apply to any other platform because most of them are going to give you the option to do a template. Lily and Buster are in the house with me, as you can hear, and we're going to dive right in. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button below, hit the bell for notifications, and also stay tuned for our podcast. Jimmy McClellan is running the Emerald Radio podcast, and Joanna's running the Yellow Door Jams. I'm doing the Fresh Produce podcast. So stay tuned for that. WPMM Radio, IRS with Luke 1817 on Saturdays. We're going to go live. So stay tuned for that. And let's go ahead and dive in. So first, let's start with what is a template and why do you need one? So a template is like a guide to help a process flow a little bit smoother, and it's super helpful in the audio world for workflow and time management. For example, if you're reaching for the same EQ or compressor every time on a specific track like a vocal, or if you are setting up from scratch for a band every time with things like certain plugins that you're used to using or auxes, and it can kind of set you back on your setup time if you don't use a template. Today I'm going to give you a basic example of how someone who cuts demos at home uses a template to kind of get an idea of what the master would sound like. In certain cases, the songs that you hear on the radio were demos at one time, cut at home or in a studio. And these are pitched to labels or professional artists. And if the song is picked up, then the label or whoever will decide to move forward on cutting the master recording for that song and basically remake it. So the demo doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but at least good enough to get the point across to be able to sell it to these labels or artists. So let's simplify the process a little bit and hit some key areas so that while you're recording your ideas, you don't lose the momentum and have to stop and fix things that are outside of the creative process, because that can really set you back when you're trying to move forward. So Wyatt Coleman with Blue Palms Entertainment suggested this video, and he's actually an artist as well. And he was awesome enough to send us the raw files to the song Another Night. The finished version I'll have below, which he did mixed and recorded at his own studio. Everything that you're going to hear is going to be all the raw files with no processing. Alright, so you want to start how a normal recording would go. Record your vocal or instruments, then listen to the track. With this style of music, there's a few mental notes that I make. First, the vocals are probably going to need compression to cut through the beat. Low end usually starts to build up with more tracks. If certain frequencies build up in the room, it can cause certain harshness or unwanted reverb. So let's start by listening to the track, and as I start changing things, you're going to see me bypass them so you can hear a before and after.
Alright, now pass it to the side until we all get high. Got enough to go around, we can go all night, and you know this shit don't.
So after hearing it, the first thing I hear is the vocals are going to need to sit in the beat so we can groove with the song a little more. So before I start turning stuff up, I may bring down the beat slightly. Keep in mind, I'm also keeping an eye on my master bus.
Alright, now pass it to the side until we all get high. Got enough to go around, we can go all night, and you know this shit don't ever stop until we all take flight. Got my crew with me, 250 for the zip, I need that top shelf.
Next thing, this isn't something I'll always do unless it applies, but let's scoop out a little of the beat in the high mids to let the vocals breathe a little bit. And let's tame some of the subtones to kind of tighten the low end up a little bit. And by the way, I'm not really mixing. This is only a little cleanup to be able to reference the track as a whole as I go.
And you know this shit don't ever stop until we all take flight. Got my crew with me, 250 for the zip, I need that top shelf, off the scale, shit that make you lean back, wobble when you hit it, make them think you bustin' moves. Now they all start dancing with you, you can tell they feel the groove. We all caught in it, hot with it, every word I drop with it, hit right near the soul, you can tell I'm never stopping it. Pick it right back up at the same place that I dropped it. Know it tastes the best when you cook up up your own sauce with it.
Okay, next let's go to the vocal. It actually sounds pretty clean to me, so let's throw a compressor on there to bring some of the quieter parts of the vocals up to sound a little more consistent. Again, not going overboard on the settings, and if you haven't noticed, I'm only using stop plugins for this.
Alright, now pass it to the side until we all get high. Got enough to go around, we can go all night. And you know this shit don't ever stop until we all take flight. Got my crew with me, 250 for the zip, I need that. Top shelf, off the scale, shit that make you lean back. Wobble when you hit it, make them think you bustin' moves. Now they all start dancing.
Alright, and now let's throw some reverb and delay. I'm gonna stick with reverb on this one.
Alright, now pass it to the side until we all get high. Got enough to go around, we can go all night. And you know this shit don't ever stop until we all take flight. Got my crew with me, 250 for the zip, I need that. Top shelf, off the scale.
Okay, I'm happy where this is sitting now. Let's listen before and after everything.
And you know this shit don't ever stop until we all take flight. Got my crew with me, 250 for the zip, I need that. Top shelf, off the scale, shit that make you lean back. Wobble when you hit it, make them think you bustin' moves. Now they all start dancing with you, you can tell they feel the groove. We all caught in it, hot with it. Every word I drop with it, hit right near the soul. You can tell I'm never stopping.
Alright, now let's throw a limiter on the master bus so you can reference the track aloud. I say reference because I recommend you send your mixes to be professionally mastered and mixed, because as I mentioned before, I'm not mixing or mastering this. This is just the minor stuff to be able to start that process, but this helps you to stay creative as you're recording.
Alright, now pass it to the side until we all get high. Got enough to go around, we can go all night. And you know this shit don't ever stop until we all take flight. Got my crew with me, 250 for the zip, I need that. Top shelf, off the scale, shit that make you lean back. Wobble when you hit it, make them think you bustin' moves. Now they all start dancing with you, you can tell they feel the groove.
So when you're happy with the basic setup, now we can make our template for a future project that is similar to the one that we're working on. So you want to go to File and Save As Template. Don't forget to name your tracks, and you can do a Save As, New Session, and then rename those tracks, then go back to the template. Don't choose Include Media, as this will save audio or any media that you have on those tracks to this template unless you need to do so for a certain project. Select the location for the template, name it, and then you want to save. Next time you feel creative, you can open this template up, choose your parameters, create the session, and you can begin to record and stay creative and easily reference the setup that you had used previously without having to start from scratch. Things to keep in mind is that it won't always apply to every song. The room that you're in versus the room that I'm in are totally different. You may have to create a template for each scenario. It can change based on which mics you're using, which equipment you're using, so always keep that in mind. So hopefully this helps, and as always, feel free to send any recommendations on future videos, and hit the like and subscribe button below so you can keep track of these tutorials that we're doing. And just make sure to stay safe, and we'll see you back here next time. Oh, and don't forget, the link to Wyatt's song is below. Huge thank you to you, man, for the recommendation, and I hope this helped. Peace out.